All right, we're recording. Good evening. This is Dale M. Gardner Webb. This is the MELS 601 add-on licensure town hall. Purpose of this evening is to introduce you to the evidence artifact work that you will have next semester so that you can get a jump on it during Christmas. I've got a class shell up from 603. It looks like the one you have this semester, the same, the processes, everything is the same. For 603 add-on, you'll be responsible for the 4 tasks of the OMA, the 4 tasks of the skip, and 2 tasks of the cap. Getting started on the OMA over the Christmas holidays will help you in that task. If you can come into the summer with at least the first 2 of the 4 tasks of the cap done, then you will have the opportunity to finish on time. Please remember that you're at a slight disadvantage in your last semester. You will only have 10 weeks rather than 16 because of the summer session. So it would be a good idea to get started on the OMA during the holiday break if at all possible. To that end, I will go to the MELS scale handbook. As you know, this is our handbook that has all of our information. It has all of the background information on the OMA in here. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I have it in a separate document. I said I did. And there it is. I have it in a separate document just for 603. And again, as I said, you will owe us the 4 tasks of the OMA, the 4 tasks of the skip, and 2 of the cap. So tonight, my focus is on the OMA. Now, there's a common misconception about organizational management analysis. The conventional wisdom is that the purpose of this class is for you to be able to create a master school schedule, a duty roster, and a supervision schedule. That is not only partially true. The actual goal of this course is for you to produce a legal master schedule, a legal duty roster, and a legal supervision schedule. Now, when I say legal, there's all kind of laws and policies in place in terms of how many students can be in a class, how many teachers can have, how much planning time, how much duty-free time, all of those things. I have a document that I'll send you later tonight that speaks to those things. That will help you with that. And so I won't dig too deeply into that. But remember, this is your law and policy course. There's also some finance in this as well, which is goes back to law and policy. But everything that you do in this course has to be related back to law and policy. You just can't build a master schedule that you like if it doesn't meet all of the requirements of law and policy. When I speak about law and policy, there is a hierarchy. Federal law comes first, all of your federal programs, EC, 504, CTE, Title I, all your special populations, you have to accommodate them first. Then comes your state law, then your local board policy, then best practices, and then teacher input. So that's the 5 points of the hierarchy, what we call the rationale in school law. Again, federal law, state law, local board of education policy, best practices, and teacher input. And it has to always be in that order. I'll tell you stories later on about if you get those confused, what bad things can happen to you. I won't get into that tonight, but remember, this is a law and policy course, and the OMA is the first of the evidences that you will do. The system is a little bit different in terms of the materials that I have for you this semester. This semester, I have a template for you as we had with the first 2. However, as you can see, this template only has the instructions and the basic outline. I don't fill in a lot for you this semester. You need to be able to learn to develop. This is the next step in your process, is you need to be able to figure out what to put in there. So the template is pretty much just a bare bones template. However, to help you transition from where you had a template that had complete directions in it, what I share with you this semester is if I can find it, what I will share with you this semester is, there it is, I will share with you an example so that you can figure out what goes in there. And this one, and I know you can't plagiarize this one because this lady works in Hawaii. She was one of our military dependents that got transferred to Hawaii. It'll be the same information. It just none of it will be what you'll be pulling up in your two states. And so this semester, we're going to give you the tools where you create your own template. We'll give you the bare bones template, give you a perfect example. This one is really good. And then you figure out what you put in there in your own. Again, this is part of the process. Now, here's the bad news. This is the end of the templates and the examples. When you get to the skip, you're going to have to start going it on your own. Get you through the first half of the program. We give you directions, we give you templates, we give you an example on this one. It's all part of the process. It's not that we don't love you anymore or that we're lazy. We need to make sure that you step up and that you grow and learn as you go. So remember, this semester you will have a bare bones template. You can always look at, we have the rubrics, the grading rubrics, so you'll know what you're going to be graded on. You will have an example of what it looks like in the end. And then there you go. Now, I have a lot of students say, boy, there's a lot of data in that OMA. There is. There's not a lot of analysis to do. It's just go get data kind of thing. There's a little bit of analysis, but this one's more going to get data. And you will grow into some analysis through the task, but in the beginning, it's just go get data. So again, you will have a template. It's bare bones. From there, you have an example where you kind of create your own template as you go. All right, so let me go back to.
Did you hand sanitizer over? Did I give you hand sanitizer?
Okay. All right, so what you should be able to demonstrate at the end of this semester, and by doing the OMA, is let me do a mute. Getting too much feedback from somebody. All right. Knowledge of legal requirements, planning and instructional time. I actually have a document to get you started on that one. Knowledge of best scheduling practices, knowledge of best practices in mentoring and coaching teachers, knowledge of North Carolina teacher evaluation system or South Carolina teacher evaluation system, knowledge of the value of teacher leadership, knowledge of how to recruit potential leaders, knowledge of the functions of the school improvement team, knowledge of communication, media and formats, knowledge of sources of federal, state, district policies intended for school improvement goals, knowledge of North Carolina accountability system, knowledge of legal requirements for accommodating exceptional learners, and knowledge of technology-related demonstrated task and program development. So as you can see, this one piggybacks on the APTEL. We pick up right with the APTEL with teachers, empowerment, teacher leadership, school improvement team, and we go right into the OMA. So in the first task of the OMA, a contextual analysis is simply analysis of the school that helps us assess the organization within the context of its historical, environmental, and cultural setting. Also, the terms and qualities that characterize the organization are unique to the cultural setting, not impacted or influenced by external factors. All right. The candidate will research and develop an analysis of school context at the internal and external district, state, and federal levels to include demographic information regarding students and staff and place it in a national context. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your advanced ed or SACS accreditation, and all that information about population, median family income, all that stuff. That's where you're going to get those things. That's your external. Internal, everything that's on the state report card. and everything that's in your school improvement plan. That's where you're going to get the internal information. I should see attendance. I should see test scores. I should see discipline, suspensions, teacher quality, advanced degrees, all those things that are on your state report card and in your school improvement plan in the first section of it that tells about your school. That's the internal. The external is everything that you would find, population, median income, medium education for your school community. All those things can be found in your accreditation narrative in the opening introduction. All those things will be found there. Once you've gotten all that material together, the contextual analysis demonstrates understanding of district, state, and federal policy, law, and district mandates that regulate structures, rules, procedures in place for students and staff. Basically, what we're asking you to do here is you've got to pull together, show us your master schedule along with all that demographic information, internal and external. We want to see your master schedule, your duty roster, and your supervision schedule. Your duty roster is where you are during the day. Who covers the cafeteria, who does bus duty, that kind of thing. Supervision schedule is extracurricular activities. We want to see those three documents, your master schedule, your duty roster, and your supervision schedule. You can usually find those in your faculty handbook. All those things need to be there as well. All right. Matt said zoom that document so he can read it. There's 130, Matt. All right. Okay. Then, along with that, you're going to do an audit of your exceptional children's programs, not just EC, all your special populations, which include EC, 504, Title I, gifted. All of those are your special populations. You're going to do an audit on them, tell us what they're supposed to get. That's included in that as well. You're going to find your local budget, and you're going to describe the process that led to the budget and how much input your school improvement team had in creating that budget. It's right there in front of you, folks. Just go right down the line and find those things. So internal, internal, state report card, school improvement plan, external, your accreditation report, master schedule, supervision schedule, duty roster, do an audit of your special POPs, including ESL, academically gifted, EC 504, Title I. Those are the big five. EC 504, Title I, gifted, and ESL, second, or ELP, whatever your district uses designation for your English as second language people. Those are the five we're most interested in. We're not too interested in CTE, but you can do that one as well because it is a federal program, but it's not a special population. So that's what we're looking for there. And then we're looking for the process of how your budget is developed. Don't just show me a picture of your budget. Tell me how it was developed. What process did you go through? Did you start with your school improvement plan? See, in the end, what we're looking for is a triangulation where the master schedule and the budget that's created in your school supports the initiatives from your school improvement plan. That's the holy grail. That's what you're looking for. Let me say that again. What you're looking for in a public school in terms of the management function of a school is that your your master schedule and your school budget support that school improvement plan. It doesn't do any good to do all this work to build a school improvement plan if you don't put your money behind it, your resources, or if you don't put your schedule behind it in terms of time and teachers. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, let me pause and answer a question here. ELL is the new norm. Yeah. some places still call it ELP, some still call it ESL. ELL is the new norm. Thank you, Dr. Crawford. So that's what we're looking to do here when we start this thing. Once we have all this information, then we're going to go to instructional capacity building. Now, if you're with me tonight, you get an extra bonus here because I'll tell you what this is. The way that we had you to do your APTEL, task 1, 2, and 3 of your APTEL, all you have to do is copy and paste them and they become task 2 of the OMA. I'm going to say that again. This is my Christmas gift to you. Simply take all the APTEL labels off of them, like task 1 or whatever. Take the APTEL labels off, but you can do a straight copy and paste of the first 3 tasks of the APTEL, and that becomes OMA task 2. Can't be any simpler than that. It's an easy one because we had you to do an instructional capacity building plan before. We made you find one. If you remember, when we were looking for checklists, we made you find one for both empowerment as a school leader and empowerment as a classroom leader, and everybody grumbled, why can't we just do school leader? This is why. Because we knew this one was coming, and if you went ahead and did it this semester, next semester, it's done. Your task 2 is done. And that's why we had you do the one as an instructional leader so that you'd build a professional growth plan for your school. It's already done. And I told you at that time, you'd thank me down the road for making you do that extra step. Now that it's done, you're in good shape. All you got to do is a copy and paste for task 2. If you read the directions, you say, oh, wait a minute, I've already done that. And yes, you have, because we had you to do it this semester. Thank you, Santa. I had my first Santa gig over the weekend, and it was I had a good day. Had inside pictures and outside pictures. I only got peed on once and didn't get thrown up on at all, and so that's a win. If you don't get thrown up on, it's a win. So I had a good day. Santa had a good day Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. I had 2 days. So Santa had a good weekend. All right. So task 3. All right. So what you're going to do in task 3, candidates are challenged to implement their findings from the contextual analysis instructional capacity by formalizing the assessment of current schedule into a modified one that will actually be proposed to school administration. So what you're going to do, first thing you're going to do is you're going to assess your current scheduling procedure strengths and area for improvement. All right. Make sure you read that correctly. It says scheduling procedures. How'd you go about it? Who'd you get together? Did you start with federal law? How does your school start the process of scheduling? Probably somewhere in your school there's a whiteboard with grids and little yellow stickies with people's names and what classes and all that. How'd those get on? How did you initiate the process to start that master schedule? Did you start with federal law? All right, did we get all of our special POPs classes situated first? What kicked that off? What process? Who was involved in that? How did you start? I want to know how your schedule started. See, the worst thing that you can do is if you've got a bad schedule is start trying to adjust the schedule, because the half that weren't mad at you now will be mad. So now everybody's mad at you if you've got a bad schedule. If you've got a bad schedule, you have to fix the process that led to the schedule, not the schedule itself. That's a waste of time. So if you said, well, our master schedule wasn't good this year, it didn't support the initiatives from our school improvement plan, well, then change your process next year. Don't just try to change your plan now. You got to change your process. Who does what, where, and when, and where you start. What are the things that are most important? Dr. Crawford says, heads up, that process begins in most places late winter, early spring. Start asking when principals receive initial allotment the coming year, especially middle and high school. what if my principal does not provide us with the school improvement plan? The school improvement plan is public information. You'll learn that first week next semester. It is not a secret. Two things that are public information that the principal is required to provide on demand at the front desk of every school is the school improvement plan and the school budget. That's law. You can look it up. General Statute 115C-288. If you've asked and not provided, then you need to remind them federal law says if it's a public school that they have to provide. 115C-288. Duties and responsibilities. Yeah, the school improvement plan is required to be posted on your website. And if we Googled 115C-288, which will cover the first night of class next semester, duties and responsibilities of the principal, that's one of those legal requirements that the principal provide that. Parents and any interested parties, staff members have to have a copy of the school improvement plan. And so, well, that's one of the questions about if your principal. That's one of the things that I ask you in task 1 is how much input do people do the school improvement team to other people have in it? And if the answer is none, then the answer is none. But there is a requirement that people be involved in that. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to assess your current scheduling procedure, and if you don't know, then you say I don't know. We're not involved in it. But what I want to know is how that happens. You need to understand how you get started, where you start will determine how good a plan that you come up with. And then make sure that you see if it's aligned with your school improvement team findings, your school improvement plan. Does your master schedule support your school improvement plan? For example, if this year our emphasis is on mathematics, did we add extra time to the math instruction block in the master schedule? Those kinds of things. Did we teach reading before lunchtime? If it's a priority, did we teach it before lunch in elementary school? Those are the kind of things that we're talking about here. Alignment with legal requirements for ongoing teacher collaboration, planning, and instruction. Does the existing master schedule allow planning time, duty-free time, all those kinds of things that meet the requirements? Have you seen about your diverse populations, your special pop? Again, it's not just exceptional children. It's EC 504, Title I, Gifted, and ELL. Those are the 5 federal programs we want to make sure that you assess to make sure that they're being accommodated. Because that's when you get sued, when you don't do that. Yeah, it might be good to drop in on a meeting or two of your school school improvement team. They are open meetings and anyone can attend, and minutes have to be posted. There should be a copy on your website. All those things are open to the public and are certainly open to you. We're not asking you for the principal to open up the vault and give you any secrets. All these things are in the public domain. All right. So do you accommodate all of your special pops? Evidences of input from the faculty and utilizations of findings as a basis for revising the current study. You notice the faculty is last, teacher input is last. All these other things have to come first. And then you develop a draft of a new schedule and present it. And then, of course, you'll do 12 competencies. Now this time, you get to pick which 12 you want to do first. Again, pick the ones that you can think of that most readily fit what you did during the process of the OMA. So that's what it looks like. This is digging into the guts of the school business. Don't forget about your duty roster and your supervision schedule as well. Make sure that when you put all your information in task 1 that we see evidence of those things. because remember, this is all about staying legal. Now, I have a couple of documents that I'm going to give you that I'll send when I send out this. I'll send out the required evidences for 603. I'll send out the template. I will also send out legal a document to help you with legal requirements for planning time. I had it pulled up.
Hey, buddy, what is on your mouth?
I don't know where it went. Here it is.
Right there.
What's on your mouth, man? Oh, whatever it was good? Is that chocolate?
All right. Okay. So now I put this one together for you for North Carolina. But there's similar things in South Carolina. And this is to kind of get you started on legal requirements for planning and instructional time calendar. It talks about how many days, how many months, how many hours, vacation days, how much duty-free time, how much planning time, all those things is in this document. So this will be a good one to help kick you off. I also have some references here if you want to find some of these things on your own. I will send all these documents with the video tonight when I send out the video. I should close that. That's all right. So that's the OMA. And again, it's not just about building a master schedule, supervision schedule, and duty roster. It's about building a legal one. Now, I'm going to tell you first night in law and policy, anybody can sue you anytime they want to. That happens. My goal in this course, to get you through this course, is that when you get sued, you don't lose. Because you don't, in tort liability, you can lose your house now. They can sue you personally. I know that's kind of cold and crass, but the idea here is to win, is not to lose the lawsuit, because people can sue you anytime for any reason. And the notion here is if you follow the right things, you won't lose. That won't change what happened to a child or whatever. For example, that you have 6 faculty members in the cafeteria at lunchtime probably won't stop the fight where the kid got hurt, but it'll stop you from losing the lawsuit for negligence or inadequate supervision when the parent sues you. But if you've only got 1 in there, you're going to lose. Even though 6 couldn't have prevented the fight, and neither could 1, if you didn't have the 6, you're going to lose when you get sued. Special population parents are especially litigious, and so that's why we have you audit all those programs so you know what they're supposed to get, and then you can find out if your school is providing those things and through the schedule. So that's what we're looking for in the OMA. I see my time is about up. I won't go any further than the OMA tonight. I want you to focus on that over the holidays. Start gathering up that information. Get a jump on that. Dr. Crawford is absolutely correct. Scheduling starts at the beginning of the second semester in secondary school, so that's a perfect time for you folks to get in on the ground floor of some of things that are happening with your master schedule, especially the process. How does it get started? Who initiates, who does what? How do we make sure that the master schedule and the budget, which is also developed starting in February, how do we make sure that those are going to support our school improvement plan? So that's what you're learning this semester. Shifting gears, we'll move then from the SKIP, which is parent and community involvement. And then we'll end up starting out with the CAP, which is culture and climate of your school, trying to improve that, including, but not limited to student management, student conduct. So I'll go ahead and tell you now, that's a part of it, but it's only a small part. There's more to school culture and climate than just management of student behavior. All right. We'll have you actually look at 5 particular areas: time, resources, facilities, teacher leadership, and school leadership. You'll have to do an audit on those 5 from your teacher working condition survey or your advanced ed survey. You can add managing student conduct, but you can't not do the 5 that are required. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you that now. So you can't hear that enough. All right. Questions about the OMA? All right. Question number 1. If someone is absent and a fight breaks out and parent sues me for negligence, according to why, if you weren't there, then you're liable to lose when you get sued for negligence or inadequate supervision if you weren't there and were supposed to be. That's one of those things that we'll talk about in school law next semester in the class. The sub should be there. Where you really get called is when there's inadequate supervision. When you know that students are going to come to the lunchroom every day, that 6 classes are going to be in there, and that you need to have 6 teachers, and you've only got 2, and something happens, that's when you get in trouble. Again, you can't prevent everything from happening. That's not the point of the course. I'm never going to say, well, if you've got 6 people in the cafeteria, you won't have a fight. That's just idiotic. You might have 60 in there and still be a fight. But we're talking about when you go to court, did you have 1 to 45? When you have large groups, the legal standard is 1. Did you have 1 adult for every 45 students? If you didn't, in the gym or on the playground or in the cafeteria, you're going to get hosed when you go to court. I can tell you right now. If you didn't have at least 1 adult for every 45 students, you're in trouble. If there was no teacher in the classroom and a fight broke out, you're in trouble. As we move to our next semester, we'll be able to keep our same Zoom groups. Yes, ma'am. If you want to stay together, you can. We'll talk about that first night. A lot of these groups form a bond, and I read final reflections from students, and that one of the things that they say they like the best is the relationships they built in their Zoom groups. You don't have to. If you have one that you don't like, we'll change up, but if you do, we'll let you stay together. Or if you don't want to, then we'll let you change. We'll find somebody else. But you have to wonder, is it you or is it them? Oh, me. I hired a SQL developer to work on a data dashboard one time. Some of them, have dropped out, but we can review them. Are we with the same professors? No. I'll be in 603 next semester, but no, you'll have the same coach that you had this semester. So if you had me, or if you had Dr. Stedman, or if you had Dr. Crawford, we'll stay with you to coach. Your instructor will rotate though. But we will still be with you. We'll still be with you on the coaching end. Now, the group that I coach, I may give those to Dr. Stedman since you were in his class. You'll have Dr. Stedman and Dr. Crawford if you were with me. You'll still have Dr. Todd and Dr. Tillman if you were with them on the coaching end, but you'll get a new instructor. I try to get you somebody new every semester, but I try to make sure you have somebody that you're familiar with. But finish my last story tonight. If you're with me, I think Dr. Stedman's going to stay with Tuesday night. I can't either Tuesday or I think he's going to. Dr. Stedman tries to stay with the same, and the instructor hopefully it'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday night. So for me, I'll be doing mine on Tuesday nights. The clinical coach will stay with you, yes. Except if it's me, I might give mine to Dr. Stedman. I can't. I have other responsibilities, and so I always coach in 601, but sometimes I don't coach in 603. But I may be. Have instructors been assigned yet? They should be coming out shortly. Blackboard crashed today. They were uploading classes today, and it crashed. I don't know if it's working now or not. You should know shortly who you have. Should have known today, but it might take a couple of days. When does spring semester start? That's a good question. Let me get out of that. Let me go here. Let's see, right here. Grad classes begin Monday, January 14th. Seems like, yeah, task stream crashed as well. They were doing something today at Gardner Webb and crashed everything. So I was able to get in and grade your work right before I came on tonight. I was able to get back in Blackboard after 6. So from 6 to 6:30, I graded work that came in earlier today. And I know I graded last night, so it didn't. I normally grade in the morning, but I didn't get to do morning because it was down. If we can keep we will need the same. No, you won't need the same instructor. You just keep your same Zoom groups. You'll keep the same class. The only person that rotates is the instructor. The coach stays the same. Y'all stay the same. Your groups stay the same. Coach knows about the groups and can work with those. The only person that rotates out is the instructor. All right. To finish the story, I had an employee who said he'd been married for 17 years, and I said, isn't that a recent wedding photo on your desk? He said, yes, that's my 5th wife. He said, I've been married for a total of 17 years to 5 different women. I said, you can't do math that way. And I said, don't be telling me that there was something wrong with them. I believe that you're the common denominator in all of these. I think you would be looking at you. And so the notion here is if you can't get along with your group, you might need to look at yourself. It might not be them. It might be you. But hopefully you get along with your group. If you don't, we'll repair. Your coaches will do that for you next semester on the first night. If you need that, they'll always ask, are you good on your groups? If not, your coaches will work with you to get them better. Those groups are a lot of value to you as you go. I read a lot of comments from students at their final reflection about how valuable their team is and the friendships that they've made. So we try to keep those together and utilize the power of those as much as we can. All right. All right, Sally. You'll have to answer to your colleagues. All right. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that you all have a good holiday. Again, we'll be back on January the 14th. Be looking this week. The new classes should appear sometime this week. Again, I don't know when they'll get that fixed. They're texting Sally now. They're mad at Sally. All right. Y'all all have a good holiday. I'll see you all soon, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. Merry Christmas. All right.
Right.